The following is a presentation of the High Spot Podcast. Making their way to the ring, talking about the world of professional wrestling, the team of Jeff Martin and the trendsetter, Bryan Jeff, the Jersey Wrecking Crew.
What is going on? You're listening to the HSP SmackDown review on the WWE Unofficial Podcast. I am Jeff Martin, alongside my tag team partner, the trendsetter, Bryan Jeff. You can follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast on bodyslam.net and on the Shining Wizards Radio Network. Trendsetter, SmackDown has come and gone. We got lots to talk about.
I'm being honest with you right now. You know, I don't sugarcoat things.
Did I say lots to talk about? Yeah, but
lots to talk about. Yeah.
Hey, man, are you surprised at the time of night that we record these shows?
No, not at all.
I mean, my goodness, man! Like, if you fans knew what exactly we do here, no, they don't care, right? But they just want the product
because the audio's out there. You know, what we do is, like we said, it's a labor of love, Jeff. But I mean, talking about SmackDown again. Nice to see you again. I'm now physically here in front of Jeff as opposed to remotely, which I miss dearly right now. Just for, sanitary reasons, of course, because of, social distancing. Jinx, you and me, Coke. But, man, I watched SmackDown, and I have to say, for a 2-hour show, it had led, for me at least, a lot to be desired. I want to talk about some key points, some storylines there, but a lot of stuff that I just shake my head. I'm like, was that really necessary? Was that really needed? I mean, I can understand for a Raw, Jeff, which is 3 hours, and thankfully we don't do Raw. God bless the individual that does that. But my goodness, for a 2-hour show, you really had a lot of space fillers. I felt time fillers, and it really shouldn't be in a 2-hour show.
No, you're right. And if we sound like this a little bit discouraged, monotoned, it's because again, though, we are clearing out of Studio 51, saying goodbye. The final week here.
Goodbye and good riddance.
And it's empty, dude. Like, it really is. It is starting to hit me that in the next few weeks we will be in a bigger studio and hopefully delivering you better.
Not hopefully, Jeff. That's the key, right? That's the goal of everything we're trying to do here. We're trying to get better content out there for obviously the crew, but also as well give it ourselves the ability because, sometimes in conditions you outgrow them. Mm-hmm. I think we've outgrown Studio 51. I think it's on to move on to something else and to give ourselves some more freedom in terms of doing stuff we want to do that we haven't had the opportunity to do.
As the Jeffersons would say, and I date myself probably with this, move into a deluxe apartment in the sky. Oh, moving on up. We finally got a piece.
Wow, that's actually a deeper voice than mine, Jeff.
Of that pie. All right, Trent.
What kind of pie is it?
Oh, man. Back in the 90s, in the Attitude Era, you know what kind of pie it'd be.
American?
American pie.
Apple pie.
But yeah, no, Trendsetter, like, I will tell you one thing, though, about this show that I did like. So let's start with the positives, and we'll start off with this. Yeah. The main event was Roman Reigns teaming up with Jey Uso. We know where they're going with the whole family angle. We talked about it. So, we went into length about how we liked the story so far with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns.
Version of Roman Reigns.
Yeah, and you had Sheamus and King Corbin as the opponents. So it starts off with the whole, how Roman Reigns pulled strings and basically got Jey Uso's opportunity at Night of Champions. So I gotta tell you though, the way they're doing this, and it also is kind of like painfully like realistic, is when WWE cares about a storyline, where they care about their character, they really can make a lot of potential here. And this angle has tons of potential. And I love where Roman Reigns is at. I love the little small things that he's doing to show his heel turn. We know where that's trending to. We know that either sooner or later Roman Reigns is going to show his new true colors to Jey Uso. And I'm very happy with Jey Uso because Jey Uso was somebody that we were thinking he was going to be the Marty Jannetty of the Usos, and it was going to be Jimmy being the main guy. And these last few weeks, they've given Jey the ball, and he's more than he's been more than satisfactory with him, man. He's been amazing. So I think what I want to say in total, so I don't sound like I'm rambling, is that this is a good freaking program here. This is really has a potential, and it's really driving me interest in it. And I think it's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, it's good on both ends, in my opinion here. One, on the fact that we have this new version of Roman Reigns, which is that cutting edge in terms of, kind of where he started when he first was introduced with the Shield. He's kind of that cool, badass type of guy. Yes, I can say that word. I'm allowed to. And, now with this storyline, I think we're going to eventually see down the road, because there's so much pitted in the storyline of family, as you talked about, that, how much does the Universal title really mean to Roman Reigns? Is he willing to even, destroy his own bloodline, as he calls it, his family? Not his brother, but somebody who's close to his, being a brother to him. Is he willing to knock that person down to keep what he has?
Yeah.
In the sense that, again, show his true colors of, listen, being the nice guy, got me only so far. Now I want mine. I'm tired of pleasing everybody. I got to please one person, myself, and my own immediate family, his wife and children. Everything else is, expendable. And then for Jay, what's good about it is now it gives something different. It gives something fresh. I mean, you looked at him as a tag team guy, and like you said, the Marty Jannetty most likely of the team, because a lot of people thought most of the charisma and maybe the opportunities, if they did split, were going to go to Jimmy. And how you can differentiate the two of them, beyond me, I have no idea. I kept calling him Jimmy for the longest time. I thought he was Jimmy and not Jay. But again, it's a credit to him to be given that opportunity, regardless of where he got it, whether it's Roman, who really did theoretically help him. And it's funny how True Life panders into the storyline, right, in terms of Roman giving him this opportunity, the Universal title. Maybe it was Roman Reigns pitching the idea, hey, I'd like to work with Jay and see what he's got here. And he's shown more than enough in terms that he has that ability of taking that next level, the next step of being not only a single star, but having the potential to be somebody that's believable, that could be down the road a WWE, a Universal Champion, an Intercontinental U.S. Champion. So great idea in terms of how they put it together. And I can't remember the longest time we've talked about something like this involving Roman Reigns that we're actually interested in. So kudos to them for that. I'll give them credit for credit is due.
So basically, Roman Reigns, lets Jay do all the work, and at the end he tags himself in, gives a spear.
Yeah, I know that's like
1, 2, 3. Oh,
yeah.
Very good.
I'm the Jimmy. I'm the Jay.
And then
That's
I
the
tag
Roman.
in and I give my 2 cents, and you wrap the show up, Trent, the way it should be.
Exactly. You wreck it and you leave.
Exactly. That's what I do. Go up the stage. Jay looks for Roman, grabs his hand, lifts it up, looks at the title in a way that Roman Reigns is like, what are you doing? And gives him that look. And it's just the minor things like that, to me, is what makes this like, wow, they're really paying attention to detail. Because there's some rivalries or some programs where you're like, we can talk about Sheamus and Jeff Hardy where it's so-and-so and it's like whatever it is. But then there's some that intrigue you, right? And there's some that'll let you down. I'm not going to lie. There are some that will let you down. They start off perfect. They got that build, and then it ends flat. And there's been more cases than not, right? But right now, this one has me intrigued as we head into their match for the Universal Heavyweight Championship. I'll be looking forward to the storyline heading into next week. And again, I think that when they use the family aspect, when they talk about blood and they talk about tradition and bloodline, and you deserve this and you're an underdog, because that's what Michael Cole mentioned. Jay is the underdog here, and they always love putting that story, and you're always going to go behind him now. But now the cool thing may be this is a cool heel way that Roman Reigns is being portrayed, so you kind of don't want to let that happen where it's like the cool thing to do now is to cheer for Roman Reigns. But hey, this is the way to do it, right? This is the way to do it. And so I'm looking forward to it, and I just really am very complimentary of the way they're going about it, that slow kind of build, those little nuances that you're like, oh, wow, okay, I see, and you really have to look close at it and appreciate it. And I think right now with Paul Heyman added into the mix too, it's something that, sign me up, man. If it continues to go this way, I'll definitely be in for their matchup coming up.
Well, happy birthday goes out to Paul Heyman as well. It was his birthday, and celebrating it on SmackDown. doing what he does best in terms of selling the audience. But I think in this scenario, too, I think it's been done so well that Paul Heyman's just an added bonus. He's like the cherry on top, basically, of the cake, of the ice cream, whatever you want to do, whatever your preference is. And, yeah, I couldn't have said any better there, Jeff. It has all those elements of intrigue that you don't normally get in a storyline or a program in WWE because it's just so stale. It's always one-sided. And here we have so many layers and so many great things, good things, more than bad things that can come out of something like this, too.
So now the bad, and again, I talked about it last week, how it's something I didn't want to, touch, whatever like that, till I had to. But I mean, the plight of John Morrison and just where this whole thing is going is just getting ridiculous. And that's where the point comes to when they care about something, they go at it. But when they just want to, and I'll just say poop on something and just make it like a comedy thing. Like, I think in wrestling you can do comedy, but I just don't think it needs to be in every little thing. You talk about the Baskin Robbins and a little bit of everything, but I don't think you need to do it in this match. Take these guys seriously, man. Like Morrison and The Miz, what is going on? Like, I hear The Miz talk about him being, all these things, which he is, and mad props to him. And John Morrison being all these things outside of WWE, being an Impact champion, being all these things, being one of the highest commodities when he was a free agent, had the big announcement, signed with WWE. And then you get to this, and you get the way both these guys are being cast as. Like, I just don't get it, Trendsetter. And honestly, if we had more things filled in this studio, I would really go off and just be more on a tangent than I did last week. But I mean, what's it worth? Because at the end of the day, and everyone will agree with it, the wrestling fan cares more about the direction of a character sometimes than the wrestler do. And we're not on the inside. We don't know if the Miz and Morrison are cool with this or they're coming up with their own stuff here, but it's not working. Even if they were coming up with it, it's bad. It sucks.
It does. It sucks very much, but, this has been nothing that's surprised us, Jeff. When we look at WWE and when it comes to, you were talking about John Morrison being a hot commodity, right? And, all these things he's done successfully outside of the WWE when he was, let go, and he really went out of his way. I mean, I can't say he went out of his way, but it definitely he had something to prove, had a chip on his shoulder to say that he could make money, make a living, doing things outside the WWE bubble. But once you get in that bubble again, all those accomplishments you just mentioned, all the things he did, all the great scenarios in terms of making a movie and all the accomplishments and all the notoriety he's gotten all around the world means nothing in the world of the WWE. So, part of me feels bad. But again, this goes back to the scenario, which I'm sure we'll talk about too, with Sasha Banks, where, when you sign an extension or you sign that dotted line and you're going to work for WWE, and I don't know what the inner meetings are in terms of what they promise you, what they say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do. You should be forewarning yourself, basically. When you sign that contract, you know what you're signing yourself into. So it could be like all the promises in the world don't mean anything, because once that ink is dry, all that goes out the door. So you hope it lives up to what they tell you. But most cases than not, it doesn't. And perfect examples are basically, and this isn't even really signing from independence. It's basically, looking at Eric Young. You sign in Eric Young and look at the great potential he had with Sanity, just the potential he had in terms of being a worker, and they just didn't have anything to do with him. Like, he would talk about, coming up with ideas and going to Vince and them saying, okay, maybe, yeah, no, and just not really interested in it. And it goes back to the main point you made in the beginning of this episode, Jeff. When WWE is interested and really invested into something, they will go all out for it. When they're not, and you're not on their radar, or you have heat with somebody, or you just did something that you didn't know that you did, maybe that Vince saw once and didn't like, and that's it, all of a sudden you're in the doghouse, it's really hard to deal with that. And, you would think that wouldn't happen in terms of NXT superstars coming to the main roster, but the same pattern applies. They come up with this huge momentum from what Triple H and the boys at NXT have done in terms of bringing up this talent, and then Vince uses that momentum because they're the fresh new thing, and as soon as they have a little bit of success or they've lived up to the potential of the hype they feel or Vince feels they're supposed to have, he or she, they get right back down to the bottom of the pecking order and have to work their way all the way back up again.
Like here's what I don't get, right? And as we move on, the Lucha Bros, Lucha House Party. I'm sorry, we just did AEW a little bit ago. The Lucha House Party. All right, there's dissension, right? Because it seems like Kalisto now becomes like he's the leader. They're looking at him
All weird.
Yeah, all weird. Like, okay, look at the ego on this dude.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then all of a sudden, this rule where you can go to a different brand every quarter. Oh God, send me help, man! Send me help with these rules. Shinsuke and Cesaro showed up on Raw. They interrupt Street Profits. Then Street Profits come into the Champions Lounge. And, they come visit them, want to visit them. They're going to end up basically messing up their match and stuff like that. It's a comedy act here. And say what you want with the Street Profits, whatever, that's fine. But then, Trendsetter, you have a team that's in dissension. And then all of a sudden, because on the Tron they appear and they're, wrecking the Champions Lounge, Cesaro gets rolled up, man, for a loss. Where is the momentum on this tag team? They're coming to Raw to challenge the Street Profits. Okay, this could be an enjoyable match. And then all of a sudden they're gonna fight down the road next Monday night on Raw, but then all the steam is taken out of Shinsuke and Cesaro because now they're going into Monday Night Raw. Really, do you really believe that they're gonna beat the Street Profits? What a mismanagement of wins and losses here, because here you kind of basically sabotage Shinsuke and Cesaro heading into Monday Night Raw.
Jeff, let me settle you down here right now so you don't, blow a gasket in this empty studio that we're in. This one thing I'll say will completely make you feel like, you know what, I'm worrying over nothing. Listen to me very closely, Jeff. The WWE has no tag team division. No tag team division. So it doesn't matter what momentum.
Oh, there you go.
There I am. It doesn't matter what momentum Cesaro and Shinsuke might have or might have lost or might have gained, because in reality, it doesn't really matter. Those tag team titles might as well be the equivalent of those little toy belts you get, which probably are worth a lot more you get at Walmart or you get anywhere else, because that's what they are. They're just for show. And that's what the tag team titles have been. That's what the Intercontinental titles have been. The US title. It's not supposed to make sense. You know why? Because, again, you said it at the very beginning of the show. That's the theme of this whole show. The WWE, and especially Vince McMahon, are not interested in the tag team division. I mean, I could care less about the Street Profits. I really could. I think they're the most obnoxious team in the freaking world. And I sometimes can't understand what they're saying, too. You want the smoke? Okay, what do you Snoop Dogg? You like the recreational smoke? What are you talking about in terms of smoke? But then
I always think of Scarlett Bordeaux. I always think she's going to pop up eventually.
Oh, dude, that would highlight the evening if that's the case, of the smoke show. But we want the smoke, being dumb and obnoxious, and you're walking around with the blue cup too, which is reminding me of the Street Profits, which I really hate.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right in there with them. And then
gotta represent the blue brand.
Yeah, the blue brand representing SmackDown, right? But then you have Shinsuke and Cesaro. That's it. There's no tag teams in this division at all. I'm surprised I even spoke this much about it, but that's what it is, Jeff. Unfortunately, that's what we're going to get. The same thing was going on with Miz and Morrison and going on with the Street Profits and Cesaro and Shinsuke, a little messing up their lounge and little boxes of popcorn, which is a really cheap lounge to begin with. Really caused Cesaro to be distracted and get rolled up by Kalisto. Here's the main thing of all this rambling that I'm doing. Mr. Kennedy had an interview. I don't know if you saw this, Jeff, and I want to give credit to the person that did it, but unfortunately I do not remember, but I remember seeing about it. He said that Vince McMahon came up to him during the time that Mr. Kennedy was in WWE and saying, you know what, comedy doesn't draw money. He said to him.
Really?
Because Mr. Kennedy was so over the top in his announcements, Mr. Kennedy. And it was, again, so over that people were laughing about it. So, you'd think ultimately he's going to be drawn as a babyface. And Vince's like, you need to stop doing that comedy shtick. And Mr. Kennedy was like, wait a minute, but The Rock's comedic too, and he's drawn lots of money. And then it's like, oh, no, he does that. But again, being comedic and being funny doesn't draw money. Okay, if it doesn't draw money, I'm not here to debate the fact that it does or doesn't. I'm here like, that doesn't draw money. But how come every single tag team, every single person like Miz and Morrison, you have this dumb, sophomoric humor going on during SmackDown, during Raw. You don't see it during NXT.
Was it with Van Vliet?
No, it wasn't with Van Vliet. It was basically an interview he did, I think, for
Sports
Culture, I believe it might have been. I'm not sure. Right. I can't say it. Now I'll give them credit for an article that probably they didn't do. But that was it, and it surprised me that if he said that, had the gall to say that, a lot younger than he is now, And yet this is what we're getting with the tag team division. We're getting with Street Profits. We're getting with Miz and Morrison. We're getting with Otis, who had a singles match for some reason. I'm not going to get any further into the singles match he had.
We're just telling you how it is, man. Like right now.
He's the Money in the Bank winner, and yet who cares about him
because
right now?
We came here and we started the show. We were telling you, man, like we're not going to crap on everything that they do, but we will call them out when things are not working or when we see the obvious. And when you're watching SmackDown, and I'm telling you, man, like Fox has got to be like, the most understanding network ever because they've shown tons of support for SmackDown. But I'm like, SmackDown is not like we watch it because we have to, but like honestly, must see wrestling is either NXT Tuesday, which they should keep definitely now. They should keep it to Tuesday. Do the fans a favor. It's not a war. Okay, it's not a war, and WWE, take your loss, whatever like that. It's better having a show on Tuesday. Let AEW do their Wednesday nights, whatever. It's a complete failure. Unless you're going to put on WWE superstars from Raw or SmackDown on there, you're not going to get the ratings.
Which they shouldn't do.
Yeah, you shouldn't. So, I mean, like... it's just
let it out, Jeff.
No. I forgot what I was going to say. That shows my age. What I wanted to say is that's the must-see wrestling. NXT and AEW. Friday Night SmackDown. I mean, no. There's so many things that were on today. You had 2 NBA games. You had NHL, which was on the USA Network. You had so many other sports going on. Football starting up. I mean, Monday night is going to be like when football starts up, man. I know the ratings didn't show for Thursday Night Football, but when Monday Night Football starts, it's going to be even more. It's going to be more obscure. Do you really like the Dominic Mysterio angle? That's like the main angle on Raw.
Yeah, they're going to fight again in the steel cage next week
on Raw.
Yeah.
Oh God!
In the Thunderdome.
Oh God! Oh.
Well, speaking of the things that we're frustrated about, Jeff, let's talk about some things that we have
piqued
our interest.
Boy, Dominic Mysterio really has had to learn the hard way, huh?
Yeah.
He's really had to sacrifice. He's really had to reach for that glass ceiling that glass ceiling that Miro talked about when your dad basically all the contract revolved around Dominic Mysterio's push. I think he's good, but what about Low? You got to learn. You got to learn the ropes. You know what I mean? Like that is such BS, man. God, when will this thing end? When will they said Seth Rollins is going to take some time off? Go now, do it. Be with Becky Lynch. Be with your woman. You know what I mean? Like, God, it's just not working, man. And then the family's beating up on Buddy Murphy. Oh, for goodness sake.
Oh, it's Murphy now. It sounds. There is no Buddy, basically.
Yeah, sorry. So this is not the Raw review.
Yeah, this isn't the Raw review. This is SmackDown. But going back to SmackDown, though, and I get your frustration, Jeff. I'm right there with you, too. I just think maybe I'm not showing as much just because I've been there already. And it's like, what's the point of wasting my energy on something like that? I mean, again, when you bring out a show like this, which... there are a lot of bads, and there are some goods there. And we finally got into something that everybody's been intrigued in, but in my opinion has kind of outlived its welcome where it should have been done way before. That's my opinion, though, and so it hasn't really piqued my interest, but it has piqued the interest of a lot of people in terms of finally Bayley addresses why she beat her best friend, her tag team partner, viciously.
Never liked her, huh?
No, never liked her, used her. But the only thing I did find interesting, though, in the small little detail that maybe some people overlooked, that she said that she did it because she knew that Sasha was plotting the same thing. So a lot of stuff that we made fun about Bayley years before when she was the goody two-shoe, hugger type of person that she wouldn't take that step. She wouldn't take that kendo stick and beat up somebody because it just wasn't in her. That's not her anymore. And the mere fact that maybe she smarted herself up enough where, it is kind of true. As much as you want to say, do unto others before they do unto you, right, Jeff? And that's what Bayley did. So from the storyline, the program standpoint, I can understand why Bayley did what she did because ultimately, in the end, prior to this whole scenario where, Sasha went away and lost her smile until she eventually came back, Sasha was plotting on turning on Bayley. And so what Bayley did is she's like, you know what? I used you to become a double champion. I used you to become the longest reigning SmackDown champion, to be a tag team champion. So I just used you to my benefit. And as soon as I knew that you were no longer useful to me anymore, or that you were eventually starting to plot and plant the seeds of betraying me, I did to you first. So I thought it was pretty interesting.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right?
Yeah.
That's what she did, man.
Can you really see yourself cheering for Sasha when she does eventually come back, though?
Man.
She's done
so
such
much
a great
better
job.
as a heel.
Yeah, she's done a great job of making people hate her.
She's so much better as a heel. It's tough, man. It's tough. It really is going to be tough. But, Bayley has done the... What you thought it was impossible to make you dislike her that much. You want to see her get her butt kicked by Sasha. She's done that. I would love to see Sasha, kick Bayley's ass. But here's the thing, though. Sasha's a much better a heel. So that's tough, man. It's tough. But again, we were talking about too. When were they going to pull the trigger? They pulled the trigger. So. Pretty sure whenever Sasha recovers, she's going to get retribution. And thank God they've been pushed to the Raw.
Don't say that word two more times. Otherwise they'll show up.
So that's Raw's problem.
Oh, man, no.
That's Raw's problem. So, man, it's going to happen sooner or later.
What do you think about this IC title thing we're going on right now? Sammy's being that obnoxious
before we get
guy.
to that, how about the Fatal 4-Way match to determine who is going to be the number one contender for Bayley's SmackDown Women's Championship? Because as Corey Graves said, was somebody's got to someone's got to.
There you go again. Thanks for making my job harder.
Oh man,
I like it. You're being real with me. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the realism.
When did I become a potty mouth? I don't understand.
It's late at night, I guess. Maybe.
But what about Nikki Cross winning? And what about Nikki Cross winning, and then all of a sudden. Alexa Bliss, and I guess now is a good time to take a little moment to appreciate what is Alexa Bliss, because she gave Nikki Cross what was Bray Wyatt's final finishing maneuver?
Sister Abigail.
The Sister Abigail, and then left. She gave up the
his glazed look on her face, the theme that I have when I look at Alexa Bliss.
I thought she was gonna be the guest on Firefly Funhouse.
I thought so too, and that's something that people were anticipating. You and I were talking about before, but to be continued till next week. So,
but still,
I am so looking forward to that.
Folks, think about this though. Nikki Cross was the first person to I was gonna say it again. Was the first person to push Alexa Bliss. She kind of maybe drew her to this.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's not make Nikki Cross as the victim here. It was her setting off Alexa Bliss here. So
we're all the victim, Jeff. We're all the victim of Alexa Bliss's greatness. That's what it is.
But yeah, so let's take a minute here and appreciate the gift of what is Alexa Bliss in her presence. Pigtails. Hubba hubba.
That was all right.
All right. Anyways, so now Nikki Cross will challenge Bayley again, and what are we going to do here? Is Nikki Cross just going to be the person that can't win the big one?
I think that's what it's going to be. Or it might be a scenario where, we might see Sasha. Here's the thing, right? We were talking about Sasha and Bayley a few minutes ago. Do you really need a title for this, though? Does it really matter if Sasha defeats Bayley and is the new SmackDown Women's Champion? No.
What does it prove?
I think that if Sasha costs Bayley the SmackDown Women's title to someone like Nikki Cross, here's what it does. It makes it even more personal now between Bayley and Sasha. You don't need the title to end this rivalry.
A
street fight, nothing on the line, just literally pride and just basically wanting to beat the living hell out of each other. And then the SmackDown Women's Championship finally goes on Nikki Cross, but who's the one to actually go up against her? Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
The new Alexa Bliss we eventually see.
Congratulations to Alexa Bliss, this is how WWE messes things up. They've got her in a character change. Yeah, she's going to host a podcast, Uncool, with special guests. I think the special guest is The Miz. You probably talk about how...
Oh, it's going to be Ryan Cabrera, I thought.
No, the first person... No, he will be on the show.
He will be on the show, unfortunately,
we can hate on him for being Alexa Bliss's boyfriend, but Miz can probably talk about the downfall of his career on Cool. So, but congratulations, though. Congratulations.
No, John Cena's doing Wipeout.
Cannonball.
No, but John Cena's coming back with Wipeout now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Be a host.
Man.
This is SmackDown, guy, so it's SmackDown relevant. Yeah. Again, that's pretty interesting. Would you say that? Mm-hmm. We have Nikki winning the SmackDown title, because again, you think, what's the point of her facing Bayley again? She's going to lose, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think the Bayley-Sasha rivalry needs the title. And I think ultimately, if Nikki were to defeat it, it just makes Bayley even more irate. These two want to now destroy each other, Sasha and Bayley, and now it leaves open the door of Alexa and Nikki Cross now, a new version of Alexa. So that would be interesting if that did happen. I just thought of that on the spot.
And then
pat myself on the back.
And then great book in there, Trendsetter on the fly. Bruce Pritchard, call Trendsetter.
Well,
Well, So then we got the whole Sami Zayn stuff.
Get a haircut, Sammy.
Oh, I was going to say it.
But it's funny, though. It does make him look more annoying.
Do a push-up, Sammy. Come on.
Well, not with his bad shoulders. He has 2 bad shoulders. You can't do push-ups that much anymore. But no, but again, I like the fact that they're doing this whole thing, because the last time I mentioned you before, last week and the week before, about the only time I remember there being 2 Intercontinental titles, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. We had the scenario where Jeff Hardy was going to face AJ Styles, and it ended up in disqualification. Sami interfered, and Jeff Hardy passed out, whatever. And he's in the doctor's office.
Sami Zayn gets involved in a pretty good match with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles.
Yeah, give him some Gatorade.
So wait a minute.
Goodbye.
Did the doctor really say he needed some fluids?
No, that was that's what the reporter was trying to say in terms of I don't know who the interviewer was, but the point I'm trying to get to is that AJ comes outside the door in the hallway saying, you know what, I'm sick and tired of both these guys. I'll face them in any match. And I'm like, ladder match right there. That's the way to settle the score. That's the way to find out who is the true Intercontinental Champion. So I like the fact that they're bringing back the title, that Sami's been gone for a long amount of time, about 4 months, obviously through the pandemic, but was never defeated for the title. So he feels he has rightful claim to it. Jeff Hardy cheated. He's a cheater. So there's nothing in terms of on the side of Jeff Hardy. AJ Styles, to me, is the true Intercontinental Champion. And now we're going to find out who is going to be the true Intercontinental Champion here. I just hope Jeff Hardy can make it, because apparently he has had knee injuries. He's dealing with sobriety. He's not hydrating himself before he gets into the ring. I don't know what's going on with Jeff. And hopefully he makes it to the match.
If it doesn't have kind of liquids in him.
Yes, exactly, and that would be interesting. Would you be into a ladder match?
Oh yeah,
Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles.
Yeah.
Do you think that's where it's going, or am I completely off on this?
Oh, you trendsetter, man! You're booking 101 right now. I'm telling you, man. Your booking is tremendous.
Any other way you could possibly go? You think, or not? This is the only way you could see it going.
The most exciting way for this to conclude, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to these 3 guys are great in the ring. Take nothing away from their in-ring attributes here. So yeah, this is the only way I think it would be, because again, it's you've got a title that's never been lost, right? And you got somebody now who is the current champion. So yeah, definitely, and somebody that kind of feels like they should be in the title mix, and should get the rematch, and was unfairly lost the title.
Do you think if my booking prowess is correct and Bruce Pritchard's actually listening to me and does this the way I think it's going to happen, do you feel, and listen, we've been victim of this several times before, Jeff, where we've looked at, dream matches or matches that we were hoping to happen and they just didn't live up to the billing. I know it's early to say, because again, none of this has really happened, guys. This is me just foreshadowing and thinking together and trying to connect the dots outside the box. But could a match like that live up to its potential without Jeff Hardy screwing it up?
Yeah, it's going to live up to its potential. That's why I'm excited to see it. So... yeah, so besides that,
those are some good highlights of SmackDown, though.
Yeah,
the IC title, the whole Sasha Bayley thing.
So why were you so pissy about this? Why?
Because
what was the fillers
in between all those, or the smoke show? Honestly, the whole segment of we have to waste time on Jeff Hardy. He's in the trainer's room, like, oh, I'm not feeling good, and then all of a sudden Sammy walks in, like, oh, maybe he needs some liquids, and all of a sudden they fight in the trainer's room. So apparently, he's not as dehydrated. And then we have the scenario too where it's like the King Corbin Sheamus thing. I mean, seriously. I mean, I understand it's a way of carrying over the story between Jay and Roman. But I'm like, Baron, I know he's the MVP. I know Brad Shepard loves him. He's the MVP of SmackDown, MVP of the WWE in terms of that he can draw. But I am really getting tired of Sheamus and Baron in this kind of a setting. Maybe more Sheamus because, I thought since he came back he would have a lot more to do. He's dressed in a really interesting way, and I use interesting in the most
stupid,
positive way. Now, he's had some pretty stupid gimmicks before in terms of looks with that mohawk before. But, I don't know what direction they plan on going. The only thing with the Sheamus that I could see potentially being good is this whole thing that he's siding along with Baron Corbin, although the two don't like each other, is that, what's going to happen when Big E comes back? That's going to be the big showcase because, again, they've been talking about Big E saying, hey, this is my opportunity. He said it last week. This is my opportunity. The spot that Jimmy J got.
Jesus. And you say I mess up.
They're new so what? Yeah. Jimmy J. It starts with a J, Jeff. You call me trendsetter. My name's Brian. So, and it starts with a T. And yeah, with me, I'm interested in the whole scenario with Big E. They're playing it so much as if he's such an underdog. And I'm like, I don't understand why they're pitting Big E as an underdog. But again, that's going to happen. Retribution, oops, did I say it twice? Yeah. Is coming for Sheamus in the likelihood of Big E. And, those two have good chemistry in the ring. So there's no doubt it's going to be a good match. But please, let us keep moving forward with Big E. Because right now, I don't know how long they plan on doing the storyline with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, but you'd think Big E is right there right now, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm. Really. All right, guys, that has been the HSP SmackDown review. Again, though, you can catch us here on the unofficial WWE podcast with your AEW recap show, the Dynamite recap show, as well as this show as well. So, Trendsetter, another episode in the books. Hopefully next week, it kind of maybe turns for the best as we head to the next pay-per-view, Clash of Champions, Night of Champions.
Stop being the dust.
So guys.
Well, he's not the best color man in the business for a reason, guys. He is my tag team partner. Can't wait to get out of here. Jeff Martin, this you little scoundrel, you. I am the trendsetter, Brian Berga. I do have a first name, Brian. Last name is Berga. I'm not just called the trendsetter, guys. I do have a life outside of this. We are the Judge of Right Crew. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the HSP SmackDown Review. We appreciate you guys all. Make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms at High Spot Podcast, all one word. Also, when you check us out, we're all great podcasts.
They don't. We end up losing followers. We're so well requested that we end up losing followers. So what the hell are you? Why are you even putting the at us, man? Because we end up getting 3 likes, then boom, two unfollows. So
just stop paying attention to the numbers, man. And also make sure you check out our YouTube channel as well. Again, 5,000. Let's get to 10,000 after I put my AVNs from 2025 in the future for you guys. And again, we appreciate you guys tremendously. Catch us again as we do another episode, and we appreciate you all tremendously. Guys,
all right,
enjoy the weekend, and I hope to have a new co-host at next week. And make sure you guys remember, we do this for one reason and one reason only, and I do it, not Jeff. We do this for you, the crew. Oh, finally, Jeff said it, actually. Thank God.
Whoop, whoop.